Hey everybody, welcome back to the Hardworking Man podcast. My name's Heath.
And I'm Rachel. And we just got through Thanksgiving here in the United States. I know some of you are listening from abroad or the North, Canada. And you already had your Thanksgiving, but we just had ours, and I would say we had a pretty good Thanksgiving.
The food was awesome. Probably the best food we've ever had on Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And that's saying something because this lady can cook.
Well, it was probably my highlight of the whole dinner was after we all sat down and everybody kind of started taking some bites and eating. I look over and our daughter's boyfriend just sat there and was, oh, this is so good. He couldn't handle it. It was probably my favorite part.
Well, and he had to re-eat before he left because he didn't want to have to eat food where he was going. Because he said ever since he's had turkey at our house, he never wants it anywhere else because
nobody knows
our
how to cook
turkey's
turkeys
awesome.
For some reason.
Just some way I made up years ago, and it's been a home run. I should probably do a video on it so other people can have the deliciousness that was.
But I don't know. I feel like you still have to have the knowledge to be able to execute all of it.
Oh yeah, you definitely can't overcook it, which
No.
I think a lot of people do.
So we did try something different this year with the spatchcock cooking, where
We cut the spine out and smashed it, cracked the
not
bones on that
smashed,
thing. I smashed it.
crack it like a chiropractor, and then it makes it be more flat. So then it's supposed to have more of an even cooking and take less time.
And every time we do turkey, I do one in the way I've always done it, and I try to experiment with another one, whether it be smoking one and not one, where this year we smoked both of them.
Yeah.
But I did one like a hot and spicy turkey, like hot wings, sort of. And that one, I didn't know how it would turn out. I was a little bit nervous, but I knew we had the Old Faithful to fall back on. That thing was amazing also. It came out so much better than I expected.
I was very nervous watching you put hot sauce all over the skin.
I used Frank's Red Hot as the binding agent and then seasoned it. And I thought it was going to be either maybe way too hot or just not a good flavor. But the flavor was great. And then when we mixed the drippings from both birds to make the gravy, it had just a perfect little kick to it. And it was awesome.
It was the star of the show.
And we didn't shake our gravy. We whisked our gravy. If you don't know what we're talking about,
blew up in our face.
That was in a previous episode of Hardworking Man podcast.
But we ate very well. My mom and stepdad came, and so we got to have some visitors this year, and it was great. We had our kids home from college, so it was nice.
It was, and then 10 different desserts to wrap out dinner because each kid wanted Rachel to make them a different pie, and then my youngest wanted to make peach cobbler. So he made peach cobbler to go on top of the blueberry cream pie, the pumpkin pie, the peanut butter pie. We had some rolls that my daughter made. This whole family, we teach our whole family to be able to cook because a lot of people, grown adults, families, don't know how to cook. And we think it's awesome that all of our kids can cook. They can make stuff from scratch. They can bake. They can do it all. So they're going to make some happy spouses, I think, in the future.
Yeah, that would be nice.
If nothing else, they'll be able to make good food. So
yeah, so you can see we've just started decorating for Christmas. We haven't got our tree yet. That's on the docket for tomorrow.
Yes, we are.
Before
We
the
go
kids head back
cut
to
our own
college.
tree down. We're here in Michigan. A lot of people have switched to artificial trees, or you just go buy one somewhere that's been on a truck forever and the needles fall off. We found this little home farm up by our old hunting property, and they have their own Christmas trees. And we've been going there for probably 8-9 years now.
Yeah.
And it's always, everyone running through the Christmas tree farm looking for the perfect tree. You think you got it, and we vote on it, and we just go back and forth. But we've been able to, luckily, we can get a big tree because we got a big vaulted ceiling here. And
I think 12 foot was the biggest one we
we got to watch trying to get it through the slider door, though, because they don't look as big outside. And when you try to get that thing through the door to get into the house, because I'm too cheap to pay to get it wrapped. So you got to get it through that door. So now we've tempered our expectations on height, knowing that they're just big. But I don't know what kind of tree it is. We get ones with the soft needles that do not poke you. And we've had trees barely lose a needle in a month. They've been amazing from this place. So
But yeah, we're Team Natural, you cut tree all the way.
Team Natural, cut down the forest. Anything we can do to help the environment. Which it actually does, because it generates new growth. So a lot of people don't understand that with people who do firewood. When you take a big mature tree down and people are like, oh, you killed that tree, you're killing the environment. You're actually not. You're helping it, because the new growth in the forest, I guess, reestablishes itself, and so much benefit to wildlife and to everything when you can get that sun back to the forest floor. So we're doing our part to help.
Yes.
By cutting down Christmas trees.
I mean, there's a reason why you build houses from wood that comes from the trees. It's all about taking and giving, right? Anyways, so our main topic today is going to be about something that Heath has had to learn.
I've gotten better at.
He's getting much better, and I'm sure most of you can relate. And it's why are men mostly so unwilling to ask for help?
I ask for help all the time. I ask you for help.
Right. I'm talking about asking other people. He utilizes my help in everything.
I feel like I get spoiled because Rachel is competent. She is strong. So she can do a lot of stuff that a lot of women can't. And so it allows me to be able to ask her, like, if I'm trying to move something heavy, instead of having to get a buddy or having to find somebody that can help me, I can just, hey, Rachel, come give me a hand with this. But it doesn't always work out.
No.
There have been a few times where she now questions my judgment on some of these decisions. And some of these she flat out just tells me no.
No, I tell him flat out no, because I have been injured in the past, and he does not have any sort of safety concerns for me, and I do.
I have the same safety guidelines for you that I employ for myself.
Yeah, and you don't have very high safety standards. And I'm like, no, that is going to hurt me. And I've always trusted you until the time when I did actually get hurt pretty bad. And
because I get hurt a fair amount, not as much anymore. I am getting wiser as I get older, but I've just always done stuff myself, figured it out, and sometimes when you're figuring stuff out, you figure stuff out through mistakes. You take your lumps, you take your bruises. Like, say for instance, one time I thought I was being smart, I thought I was being safe, and I was working on a brush hog. I lifted it up with the bucket of my tractor. I had a little Kubota tractor. I lifted it up, and I know you're not supposed to work under stuff when it's supported by hydraulics because things can happen. So I left the tractor running so that it always had the pressure, so outside of a hose blowing, nothing would happen. I then thought, you know what, I'm going to take this 2x4 and build kickstands. So I built kickstands under this, so now it can't possibly fall on me, right? Gets to lunchtime, I'm trying to change the blades, they're all seized on. I shut the tractor off, going to eat lunch. Well, shutting the tractor off, the pressure bled off the hydraulics. I then get back out there, and I'm giving it to that bolt. Well, in doing that, it made my 2x4 kickstands kick out, and that thing just crushed me, bounced me off the ground. Like, that's the level of safety that I put in. I thought I was being safe, and in turn, had I not had the kickstands there when I went in for lunch, the whole thing would have settled down and none of this would have happened. But because I had the kickstands and forgot to restart the tractor and the hydraulic pressure had come off, it literally crushed me to the ground. And I bring that up because that's what I did to her.
You didn't crush me to the ground.
I would have had our vehicle not been in the way that I smashed.
Yes. Oh, yeah. I would have been hurt way worse.
So we had bought at an auction, believe it or not, I bought a commercial quality Smith's machine, which if you don't know what that is, it's a weightlifting machine that is safer because you can do squats and you can do bench press and everything, and the bar that you use is on guides, it's on bearings. And you can set stops. So if you don't have a spotter and you fail a lift, it won't crush you, because if you have the stop set, it will stop it from crushing you like a normal bar would. Or if you're doing squats and you fail, it will stop it from crushing you to the ground. So the machine itself is safer. It also has a weight stack on the back of it. It's 200 pounds for the pec deck and for the cable rows and everything. So when I bought this, it was disassembled at the auction. They loaded it up onto my trailer for me, and I brought it home. When I got home, the stack of weight plates was on the back of the trailer, and I thought, well, that's the heaviest piece. Everything else I could pick up by myself. But that weight stack, I was going to have to figure out a way to maneuver that off the trailer. Being on the back of the trailer, I thought, you know what? I'll unhook this trailer, and then have Rachel tip it up. And as she tips it up and holds it up, I'll shimmy it off the back of the trailer. It worked perfectly until what happened?
I don't know what happened. I was holding the trailer or
The tongue.
The tongue, yeah. I was holding the tongue of it, and then all of a sudden it starts dropping, and I can't hold it anymore. And then I'm like looking at the ground going, I'm going to crush my feet if I drop this. And then I just was like, screw it. And I couldn't hold it. I had to let go. And then the whole weight machine, the whole metal racking just went flying at me, and it hit me in the back, knocked me down, and thankfully it hit the car and stopped it there. Otherwise it would have like pinned me to the ground with all of this weight on my back. But
Yeah,
I just remember being like, oh my gosh. And
it literally bounced her off the ground, because when I took that few hundred pounds off the back, it was the counterweight, and she wasn't strong enough to hold that tongue up. And when it hit the ground, the entire machine rocked forward, and the 45-pound dumbbell or barbell was at the top. And when the machine tipped and she was fleeing, it rocked off the machine. So that barbell, with all the weight of the rack, which, like I said, it's a commercial unit, it's a heavy unit, it came down and just crushed her. And had it not smashed out our taillight and dented our car that was in front of her, it would have crushed her straight to the ground. But she was hurt for quite a while, and she still brings that up when I ask her to help me with something.
Yeah, I'm like
I slip up one time.
You're
One time I make a mistake, and now she holds it over me forever.
I just remember you got so mad and started yelling and swearing right after, and you did not swear very much at this point.
Well, I didn't know what happened, but it was a nice car that I had just bought you.
So then I felt bad, like I just failed you.
No, I wasn't mad at you. I was mad at me. Like, guys know.
And then you finally come over and you go, "Are you okay?" And I was like,
emotions, man. I'm hyper emotional. Guys know when something doesn't go right, when it's your fault. That was my fault 100%. I wasn't mad at her.
I was
mad at the situation. I just crushed the car that I had bought her not very long ago, and it was at the time probably the nicest car we'd ever bought, and I smashed the thing. And I failed. My plan had
somebody
failed.
Else for help.
I had two neighbors on each side that could have easily come over and given me a hand.
Could have came and helped you.
But when I had Rachel, I didn't think I needed that. Looking back.
Like, why is it so hard to just not, hey, can you help me for a minute?
I know one of the reasons I don't like asking for help is because I know how busy we are, and we know everyone's always busy, and I feel like I don't want to inconvenience them. Like, yeah, I get it. It might only take them 10 minutes to come give me a hand, but if they're doing something else, they probably don't want to stop what they're doing to come help me. Even though I always do that for other people. I have no problem doing it, and they probably don't either. But in my mind, I don't like asking other people for help because I don't want to inconvenience them. Unless you're a perennial ask for help and never give help person, that's probably not the case. And I'm learning that more as I get older and as I have a little more experience. But that's probably my main reason for not wanting to ask, is I don't want to be a burden on anybody.
No, well, and sometimes people are like,
Rachel.
Yeah, he burdens me daily. Mental burden, this guy.
That's the wife cloud. That shouldn't be a burden. That should be an honor.
What's the wife cloud?
So you know how you have the iCloud where you store stuff? Rachel is my cloud, my wife cloud, because I'll be like, hey, who has practice today? And she should be able to download that and feed me that information. But she doesn't like Siri. To. You know, because she knows women know this stuff. And so I ask her, and I could go look at the calendar, but I assume, why should I go look at the calendar when I can just ask her and she can spit it out?
Or who is, and you tell me their YouTube handle.
Yes,
and
I'm terrible
know
with names.
Their name every single
time.
time.
But I'm just confirming because I don't want to type the wrong person's name because I'm bad at that.
But like the wife cloud holds all of these names apparently.
Yes.
Or you'll be like,
she's very smart.
What restaurant has that one appetizer I really like? And then I'll know because it's stored in the wife cloud, huh?
That's a perfect example because she knows this stuff. So I don't mind burdening Rachel, but I hate burdening other people.
See, I have a problem asking for help for things because I don't want to have to wait. I just want it to be done, and I want it done now, and I can't stand waiting. So if you have to go to work for a few days, and I'm like, now I gotta wait. I want it done now. So I'll just try to make it happen because I can't stand waiting.
I'm like that a lot too because I don't always know what I'm doing. If you go back to the ADHD thing, I'll be doing something, see something else, start doing that, see something else, start doing that. And then if I need help with something, I can't leave that and wait for someone to help me. I need to do it now because I was doing it. Like, it's like when you buy something. If you buy something and you have to put a deposit down or you make a decision to buy something, you want it now. If you buy a house, that waiting is the worst because you decided to buy it. You put down a deposit. A lot of us would just like to be like, here's all the money. Give me what I got. Log splitters, anything. We hate waiting. So when I'm doing something that I need help with, I hate waiting. And for some reason, I expect that if I'm doing something, Rachel should be sitting by waiting in case I need help. So I'll be like, Rachel, I need help. And I'm in the garage, like half stuck under something. And I'm like, Rachel. And she's like, what? I'm like, I need help. And so she'll come out and I'm stuck halfway in the garage. And she's like, I was, doing whatever. Like, I'm not.
You used to do that when you would change a baby's diaper and there was unexpected poop in there. You'd go, I need some help here. You'd be screaming. And I was like, how do you think I change these diapers every single day, multiple times a day? I have never called for help for anyone.
Women are special. You guys have
I need
multiple
help
talents.
or making dinner. If
I
you're
do that when I'm cooking.
Oh my gosh, if he's outdoor cooking, like I'll have gotten everything ready and he's just literally cooking it. And then when it's done, he just comes in and starts hollering.
Because I want everything done at the exact moment. And when everything's wrapping up, if you leave something in the fryer too long, it's going to burn. So it's all firing off at the same time. And I'm like, I need some help here. So I don't mind asking her or the family for help. It's other people I don't like asking for help. But
he doesn't like waiting for
not
my
waiting.
help.
No, you should be on the ready.
I always say, like, on the days you're off work, I can't plan anything because I have to, like, be sitting here waiting at your beck and call because whatever Heath needs better be happening quick.
That would be awesome if life worked that way.
Yeah. Oh, my goodness. Well, you also don't like when you ask people for help and they're like, yeah, sure, just let me know. And then every single time you ask them, they have an excuse why they can't.
Hey, I'm going to do this. You said you'd give me a hand. Oh, I can't right now. I'm mowing the lawn. Like, okay, what about tomorrow? Oh, tomorrow I got to water the garden. Like, okay, when can you help me? I'll let you know. Tick tock, tick tock. Hey, I'm going to do that again. Can you give me, so that I only will do that so many times because that's frustrating. If you actually ask for help and then you can't get it, that's one of the reasons. Another reason I don't ask for help,
Well, yeah, that's really frustrating when you ask people to help you and they're like, yeah, sure, just let me know. And then you let them know and they have a million excuses. So.
But that also goes back to everyone's busy. And that's, again, why I don't like being a burden. But I am getting better at realizing that I do need help because a lot of times I can get stuff done that I probably shouldn't be able to without help. I just figure it out one way or another, whether it's just rigging something up to make it work, just powering through it. I'm always able to get it done, but I'm realizing now that that's not always the best choice because you can get hurt. You can have something that affects you for the rest of your life, like if you crush your wife with a Smith's machine.
Oh, and you almost crushed me with a treadmill too. I forgot about that.
I didn't almost crush you. Had it gone wrong, you would have been
He
crushed.
put me at the bottom of the stairs thinking I was going to hold. It was another commercial unit, which we still have both of these, by the way.
They're great.
They're
but that treadmill weighs way more than I expected.
Yeah, like 15,000 pounds.
And I was like, we're going to put this in the basement because at our old house, that's where it made the most sense. And people are like, you can't put that down there. And I'm like, it'll be fine. So I had it on the dolly. I had it strapped to the dolly. I start getting it down the stairs. And I realize, I need help or this thing's running away from me. And it's going to be destroyed. The basement's it was a finished basement. It will be destroyed. So I'm like, Rachel, I need help. Get underneath this thing. Help me fight the weight of it. Because it was so much heavier than I thought. And I'm at the point now, there's no turning back. Yeah. This thing's on the stairs. It's not coming back up those stairs.
Shimmy past.
So she gets on the backside, and I'm like, now do not let this run because it will crush you.
Yeah, I'm like, oh my gosh, what? I think I'm way stronger than I really am.
We successfully got the treadmill down to the bottom, got it set up, used it for years, and then I think I did ask for help to get that bad boy out of the basement because we did get it out of the basement. Actually, I think I might have used a come along to get it up the stairs. I don't remember how, but we did get that thing out of the basement. And I did ask for help here moving a large safe that I knew I would need help with.
Well, you didn't have a choice. So you tried to hire movers to move the
move
safe,
it,
and
they
no
all
one would do
refused.
it.
They were like, nope, I won't move one that big. I'm like, hey, this is your job. Like, what?
Yeah, I don't even know. I remember I had
None
clients.
of them would do it.
Clients were trying to move a gun safe, and I was like, good luck. No one will do it. Like, I don't know why. You call a few different companies.
Yeah, nobody would do it. They're like, nope, we don't move those. I'm like,
no, it was something about how they would have to get it, or they couldn't go, like, get down the hill. But we ended up not even going down the hill. So,
and it was one of the times that I was willing to pay a company to do something that I felt I could do. Like, that's not always easy for me. I'm going to do it with this outdoor wood boiler because my brothers are too busy, and this isn't about them because they are crazy busy. They own their own company. They live 3 hours away, but
it's not convenient for them to just pop over.
Yeah, they can't. They'd have to make a day or two out of it, and it's just not working. Everyone has a lot going on. They have as many kids as we do. But anyways, I'm paying. I'm getting that thing hooked up. I could probably do it myself, but that's something I don't want to mess up. So we're going to have that hooked up pretty soon. He was a few weeks backlogged on his schedule. But to me, those are milestones for me when I'm willing to pay someone else to do something instead of figuring it out myself. Because years past, I would have just done it myself. And I still do a lot myself if I can.
Yeah, I mean, I do have a lot of that. We've talked about this before, how it's like, let's just do it ourselves. We're willing to do it. But there are definitely some things where you need to call on an expert or have somebody who's stronger than your wife come help move giant things.
And I'm getting better at that. We learn as we go, right?
There's something else you do. We won't ask for help, like in a store. If we're shopping for a specific thing and it's not where you thought it was, he will spend no less than 20 minutes searching all around, walk past like
because I feel like I know where it should
10
be.
workers, and then I'm like, why don't we just ask someone? And he just, nope, and he keeps walking. So finally, I'll just be like, do you know where this is? And they'll bring me right to it. And I'm like, see, you should have just asked
I swear
them.
when I ask, they never know.
I'm like, why won't you ask?
And if you're looking for something, you can find like clearance deals on end caps and stuff that you would have missed if you just asked the worker where to go.
I feel like they must have developed like the GPS on everybody's phone, so we have the ability to not get lost because men would never ask for directions, right?
GPSs are great.
Like I feel like that's a thing. No one ever
I think
jokes
that's a
about.
myth that guys don't ask for directions.
Well, yeah, I'm like, I don't think anybody's doing that anymore. It might have used to happen when you only had a map. And
You know what some people do? The older generation, they love to ask for directions and give you turn-by-turn directions and ask how to get to your house. And you're like, that device that you're calling me on, that's a GPS. You put my address in, it will tell you how to get here.
Wait.
Well, what exit number am I looking for? Like, it will tell you all of that. I promise you, these things are amazing.
are you talking about my own mother who just did this 3 days ago?
I mean, perhaps. But it's not just her. A lot of people will do that. They are like, well, how do I get there? Like, I can't tell you how to get places anymore.
No.
I can't tell you what street things are on
Like, do
because
not
I
give
just
me
plug it in the
directions.
GPS and it takes me there. It's a magic little box that can get you anywhere.
Give me your address. That's all I want. Do not tell me to turn here, or there.
Another thing that I think is sort of similar, that this is something that I used to do all the time, and I've gotten better at it over the years. I still catch myself doing it, but when people are like, hey, would you like this? Or do you want this? Or hey, if you want it, you can have it. I would always say no, because again, I felt like a burden. I would, hey, do you want this? Like, no, thank you. No, thank you. Because I felt like it's a burden. But then someone was like, look, if they're asking you if you want it and they're not willing to give it to you, that's their fault for asking you. And I was like, you know what? That's a good point, like, so that's something I've gotten better at. Like if someone's like, hey, do you want a water when I'm out tracking a deer for him? And if I want one, I'll say yes. Where in the past, I would have never said yes. These are just things that I realize along, life that I've done, and that it really was sort of pointless. It was just something in my head thinking like I'm a burden. Like you're not a burden for taking a water from someone.
That
when
was
they're like,
offered to you.
Do you want a water? And I'm like, oh, no, thank you, when I'm dying of thirst. I don't know why I always did that. But I've gotten better at that, and I think that's sort of along the lines of asking for help because it's being a burden on people, and I don't like to do it, even though it's not at all what it is. In my mind, that's what it was.
Well, and a lot of times if people are offering you something like that, they like would feel so much better if you did take it. That
Yeah,
it's almost
actually
offensive for you to not. They're like, oh, fine, you don't want anything.
Right, and I'm the same. Like, hey, do you want some of this jerky I made? Oh, no, thanks. I'm like, oh, they don't think
Right.
it's good.
Like, do you want a cookie? I feel like I would always go over to my step-grandma's and she'd offer cookies. And if you said no, you were rude.
right, but I would always say no because I thought
You're like,
it was
"Just
being
take it."
burdensome.
Just say, yeah, thank you. Well, I think that about wraps us up for this episode.
So what do you guys, I mean, I can't be the only one that goes into stores and won't ask for help. If you haven't been using your wife cloud, well, now you know about it.
The jig
and
is
don't,
up.
Don't crush your wife because ask for help. I don't know why I'm getting better at it and I don't want to be a burden, but don't be the guy that always asks for help and is never willing to help. You know who you are.
Right. Don't be that guy.
Maybe you don't know who you are.
We all know that guy. But I'm curious, if you have any stories, funny stories to share, leave them in the comments where you didn't ask for help and you almost killed your wife or something like
Right.
it.
Hopefully I'm not the only one.
If you have funny stories that have happened where you're like, oh my gosh, I should have asked for help. So
These
share
are the
those
comments
with
on
us.
YouTube because that's where we check the comments because this podcast goes out on other platforms. But
You
Spotify,
can leave
you can
comments on
comment.
Spotify.
I don't know how all this stuff works. I've never asked for help.
Yeah, it's all in the wife cloud. The wife cloud knows how it works. You can leave comments on any of the platforms that you're watching this or listening to this from. So thank you all for tuning in. If you like to support us, just drop us a comment, like this episode, subscribe to the podcast channels or subscribe on YouTube if you haven't.
If you know people that might like to, share it with them on Facebook or whatever your platforms are. And we hope you guys are having fun with these. We're having fun with them. We hope to keep growing in our podcast and getting better as we do with everything that we do. We constantly want to improve. So hopefully you guys are enjoying it and have a great holiday season, and we'll catch up with you guys next week.
See you next week.